Hello everybody, it's Foo here, and today I'm starting a new series which is everything you need to know about Pokemon in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. So we'll be looking at different species of Pokemon and talking about where to find them, how best to combo them and find shinies, get good stats and IVs, and then how to use them in the game, how to beat those master trainers, and also how best to use them in Wi-Fi battles and competitive, so what movesets you want to be using. If there's anything that you particularly want to know about in this series, or any information that you think I should include in these videos, let me know in the comment section, because this is the first one, so this one's a bit of a guinea pig, but I'd be really interested to hear what you guys want to know. And also, because it's the first in the series, I'd really appreciate if you left a like on this video if you do enjoy it, just because it gives me a signal boost, lets me know that you guys want to see this, and also helps promote this video so that more people get to see it. So this is my first video since the Let's Go release, and going into it I was a bit skeptical. My expectations were sort of middling because I wasn't sure how much there would be in this game for me, being a fan of the technical mechanics aspect of Pokemon games. But actually I've loved the experience, it's been fantastic and I've enjoyed every moment of it. And so yeah, that's blown my expectations out of the water really. I'm really excited to get into the Wi-Fi battling aspect of it and look at how competitive it's going to shape up for these games. And if you guys have played it, I would be really interested to hear your thoughts. If you haven't played it, I'd definitely recommend that you give it a go, because it's just been wonderful and I've really enjoyed it. Even if you're only into competitive, then I'd say that there's potential for that in this game, so keep an eye out. And if you just want to hear about the content for the competitive side of things, then I will try to keep you up to date there. But for today's video, we'll be looking at Squirtle, Wartortle and Blastoise. This is my favourite Generation 1 starter family, and that's why we're starting there. And also there's quite a lot to say about these guys, so I thought that I'd start with quite a meaty topic just to see how we go. So the good old water types from Generation 1. Where can you find Squirtle in your journey? Well, fortunately you can find it quite early game. There's a cutscene in Cerulean where a Squirtle, a cheeky little Squirtle, is running away from a policewoman, and you will encounter that policewoman again in Vermilion, and she will give you a Squirtle as a gift. So you get it pretty early in the game, you can use it for the majority of your journey, and that's really, really nice. It's free, it's easy, and that's fantastic. You can also encounter Squirtle in the wild, which means that you can try to find shinies, try to find ones with good stats by combo chaining them. There are plenty of videos on YouTube about that if you don't know about it, but I'll give you some specifics. So you can find Squirtle in the wild on Route 24 and 25, which are north of Cerulean at a relatively low level, and then much later in the game you can also find it in Seafoam Islands at a much higher level, which is much harder to catch. So if you're looking to combo chain these Pokemon, you want to be doing it in Route 24 and 25. They're a rare spawn, so you won't get many popping up, and there'll only ever be one on your screen. The best way to maybe find your first Squirtle would be to chain something else on a different route. I always default to Caterpie and Viridian Forest just because they're so damn easy to catch and there are always so many of them. So you get a chain of about 10 and you should be able to force a Squirtle spawn if you then move to Route 24 or 25. Squirtle can be quite tricky to catch, so go armed with Ultra Balls. And the issue is once you've caught your first Squirtle, that breaks any chain that you had before and they will then be rare again. So definitely use a lure, which will help them pop up, and it also increases your shiny chances, so that's cool too. If you're just interested in shiny hunting, then just go in with a chain of something else, put a lure down and wait for them to pop up. If you see a Squirtle, encounter it and run away, because as I say, you'll only ever have one on your screen at the same time, so the quickest way to cycle through Squirtle is once a non-shiny pops up, encounter it, run away, so another one can pop up and replace it, and that one could be shiny. If you are trying to chain the Squirtle, as I say, you'll need your Ultra Balls, you'll need your lure, and you'll need to catch them each time. Be wary of them running because they can pop out of Ultra Balls, and if they pop out too many times, they'll want to run away and break your chain, so make sure that you're wary of that. Once you've got your chain of Squirtle going again, they'll become common. And make sure to talk to Madam Celadon in Celadon City if you want a good nature for your Squirtle. The best ones in my opinion are timid or modest. Timid meaning that it's just a bit speedier so it can break through some of those slower walls, or alternatively modest so that you can just get that maximum damage output as a Blastoise if you want to go that way. So how do you use these Pokemon in the game? Well, being bulky water types with few weaknesses, they're very good at tanking hits, and then they can fire back with their attacks. It's really lucky that you get Scald really early on in this game from Misty and Cerulean Gym, because this is a great water type move with high base power, and it allows you to burn the opponent, so it's really easy to use and spam. Water typing is just great to have throughout the game, so you're not going to struggle with these guys. They're going to be doing very well. Later in the game you'll get Ice Beam in Seafoam Islands. This is a great attack for them to use too, because it really helps out taking down those grass types and the dragon types. In terms of beating Master Trainers, Squirtle and Wartortle don't get great coverage moves, so the best strategy is probably going to be Toxicking the opponent, which a lot of Master Trainers, that is generally the best strategy if you don't have great moves to hit them. So if you use Toxic and then rest to make sure that they can't take you out, really the best way to do this is either to train your Squirtle up to a relatively similar level, or alternatively just use a ton of candies on them, which is easy to get if you have done the combo chaining. So if you use a ton of candies on your Squirtle and Wartortle, you can take on the Master Trainers with ease with Toxic and Rest. In terms of Blastoise, you can go down the same route with Toxic. It's probably, again, the easiest way to do it, but also Blastoise can Mega Evolve, making it a lot more powerful with its special attack, and it does have Dark Pulse, which is a good coverage move there to hit the opposing Blastoise, so you can go that route as well. So in terms of competitive and Wi-Fi battling, Blastoise, I think, is a very underrated threat in terms of Megas. It's one of my favourite, it's definitely my favourite in these games. I love Mega Blastoise, I think it's so cool. And there are two kind of metas we're looking at the moment, which is the restricted mode where you're not allowed to use candies, and the unrestricted mode where you can use candies. In restricted mode, everything's a bit frailer, so Mega Blastoise hits even harder, and you want an all-out offensive set here. Scald is a great spammable stab move. It'll do a ton of damage and can burn things switching in, so that's really hard to switch in on. Hydro Pump is even more powerful, so it just takes out so many things. It's so satisfying to use, and the animation is awesome now. Ice Beam is great for covering the grass types and dragon types that you might otherwise struggle with, and then Dark Pulse is a great coverage move too, because it hits some of the water types for good damage, and specifically Starmie and Slowbro hate that move, so it's very good to run. I believe that Mega Blastoise is also decent in the restricted meta. Even though its damage output is much less impressive, it has a really nice trick up its sleeve, which is Dragon Tail. So it's able to phase out the opponent, make them take Stealth Rock damage if you've set it up, and also it prevents any setup like Swords Dance or Quiver Dance on your opponent's side of the field. So that's really, really nice and a great selling point for Mega Blastoise in this very bulky meta where everything's trying to set up or do naughty things. You can Dragon Tail them out and really keep the advantage and keep the momentum there, which is so helpful. And then your last move can be either Dark Pulse, hitting the same Pokemon that I've just mentioned, or alternatively Rest or Toxic are very good in this meta too, because you're bulky enough to stay asleep if you want to, or Toxicking just to chip down at those bulky Pokemon too. Very good moves. So I think that Blastoise is great in both of these metas, and I implore you to try him out. The other meta that we can also consider is doubles, which I haven't dabbled in too much yet, but really want to, because I think it will be a really interesting meta in Let's Go. But Blastoise is going to be great there too, because it gets access to Fake Out, one of the few Pokemon that will have that in this meta. So that's really great, because you've got a really powerful, especially offensive Pokemon with great bulk that also is able to prevent the opponent from moving for that first turn, which is so valuable in doubles. So I love Blastoise in the doubles meta and how it looks. So there you go. That is everything that I think you need to know about this family in these games. Let me know if there is anything that you would like to hear about though, if there's anything that you would really like me to talk about in these videos. And also let me know what you think of this format, if you think that I could change anything up. If there's a specific Pokemon that you want me to cover, then please let me know in the comment section below. If you're not so keen on the Let's Go content, don't worry too much, because this isn't going to be my only content. I will be looking at Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and I'm not going to give up on those games because there's still so much to cover there, and I really enjoy the series that I'm doing with that. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been foofootoo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.